I've been gone for a while, almost 2 years in fact. I needed to get right, and really and truly, video games helped me get there. Let's do this. Video games literally saved my life, and I know that's probably a really wild thing to say, but with my 30 something birthday fast approaching, I took some time to reflect on some of the, I'll call them pitfalls that occurred during my life and how I navigated through them. And the one consistent thing I always came back to was some form of video game or something related to video games. The first of these I'll call the N64. So I grew up in a very bad neighborhood. In fact, I've spent most of my life in bad neighborhoods. And looking back at aspects of my life, I could clearly see that a lot of it has been directed by video games. As crazy as that might sound. But yeah, I must have been about 6 or 7, give or take a few years. And looking back, I was definitely hanging out with the wrong type of people. I had the wrong type of friends, really. And I didn't know this at the time. At the time, we were just a bunch of kids causing a nuisance everywhere we went. But my family knew. And my family, I guess you could say, struggled financially. We struggled financially whilst I was growing up. Most birthdays that I can remember, I would get a few hand-me-down toys and some books. And I was really appreciative of of them because in a way I didn't really know any better. I do look back and I know that overall I was definitely a happy kid, a happy child. But I do remember very distinctively during that birthday when I was approaching either 6, 7, or 8, and I only got books. And honestly, I love books. I love books now. Um, but it was really odd. But I was told to wait for Christmas. And it was like, I know a lot of the time when I would get a big present, like a bike or something, it would be my joint birthday and Christmas present. So it wasn't an odd thing, but yeah, I just remembered that I just got books. Um, and then Christmas came, and I distinctly remember my aunts carrying this massive box. Well, to me at the time it was massive, um, up the stairs, and I was told that this was the last thing I was allowed to open. And I remember opening that box and seeing Mario's face smiling at me, and I was elated. Um, I didn't know what a gaming console was at the time, but I definitely knew who Mario was. And yeah, it was that was the first time I think video games saved my life. And the reason why I say this is because before I received the N64, my routine would be go to school, come home, eat food, and then go out with with these friends at the time that weren't good for me. And after getting the N64, that completely flipped. I I would go to school and then I would come home, eat, and hop on the console. This was the time before mobile phones and stuff. well, we had mobile phones. I don't know why I said that, but like I didn't have one. And so it was very hard for, I guess, people to communicate indirectly. And as a result, I was just left to it. I would spend countless hours playing Super Mario 64. And as a consequence of this, me and those group of friends I had made grew less and less close. And looking back, that was such a blessing. I mean, to go a bit deeper into this, my oldest cousin, who I used to look up to as an older brother. I mean, I was younger than him, but I was his oldest cousin, if that makes sense. He he was quite high ranking within a gang, um, within my area at the time, and a lot of the friends I had that were a bad influence on me were also had family members within that gang. So I guess in a way, without the N64, I would have been destined to follow follow that path. And it's quite shocking to look back and realize that such a simple such a simple thing had such a massive impact on my life. But yeah, that's the first time video games saved my life. So the next one, and we're sticking with the N64 here, is Zelda and Shigeru Miyamoto. Now, I'm not sure which of these things happened first. They happen in such close proximity to each other. But one of the things was I I got The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, and I remember loving that game. And the second thing that happened was I used to collect magazines, video game magazines, and in one of those magazines there was an article that mentioned that Shigeru Miyamoto there will be a Shigeru Miyamoto documentary happening, and I remember begging my mum that that we needed to find this on TV, and I really wanted to watch it. And thankfully we did. And I think it was at that very moment that I realized that these stories that I read aren't just stories, like they're made by someone. Someone would had to sit there and come up with these things. And it was at the time where I was obsessed with the lore of The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Like I'd never witnessed anything like it as a child. And there was this man that had sat there and created Mario and Zelda and these amazing worlds that I would lose myself in. And it sparked my passion for writing and trying to create my own worlds. But it also emphasized my passion for video games. And I began to hope one day that I would develop my own video games and create my own stories and my own worlds. And this led to such a big change in how I guess I operated at that age. Not only was I playing video games, but I was trying to find video games that had stories that would inspire me, and I would write stories, and I'm sure a lot of them were terrible, but it's something that I loved doing. I enjoyed it. It was fun for me, and it meant that instead of going out and witnessing the troubles that were occurring in my area at the time, I would just stay home and write. And and this all came to such a poignant point where I had we had an exam when I was younger where we had to write a short story. And I remember I remember the story as if I wrote it yesterday. And it was essentially me walking from my estate to school. And with every, I want to say step, but it's more of a distance. With every certain amount of distance I would walk, there would be a color that would be removed from my surroundings up until the point where I got to school and it was completely pitch black, kind of more black and white, but a lot closer to black than black and white. And as a result, it won an award, um, and I actually got given flowers, and that was an odd thing because I guess as a child, it's not something you really appreciate, but yeah, I won an award for that piece of writing, and it made the teachers take notice and I guess potentially realize that I was actually quite clever in I guess, and it meant that I I got to I got to be pushed and motivated to do well in other subjects, and as a result of that, I got to meet two of my two of my I guess brothers now. Um, let's call them L and J. I've known L for most of my life really, but it wasn't until a lot later on, probably when I was 9 or 10, that we became friends. And I met Jay when I was around the same age as well. And to this day, all these decades later, we are still such close friends and we speak almost every day. And I really appreciate their friendship and stuff. But again, none of this would have happened if I didn't get The Legend of Zelda and I didn't collect gaming magazines and I didn't get my mum to find that documentary for me. I would have never found my passion for writing and I would have never made such great friends that over the years have really steered and guided me through really tough times. If you're watching, I love you guys. Thank you. I guess the next thing would be Xbox Live and Modern Warfare 2. Yeah, this is the third time that video games would have saved my life. And this happens a lot later. Um, and I mean, in between, there've been countless times, but I'm really trying to focus on points of inflection, points that notably changed or shifted the way I saw the world or operated within the world, I guess, within my world at least. And the third time really comes within my late teens. Um, as I mentioned before, I didn't always, well, I still don't. We didn't have a lot of money, and I saved up for years, I guess, to make sure that I'd be able to get a PlayStation 3, and I was able to do that, and I absolutely loved it. I was playing it almost every day, and I distinctly remember that L and J decided that they were going to get Xboxes, and they were playing it religiously each evening. And so this happened around college or sixth form times, and L and J went to different college than I did, and that meant that yeah, we still saw each other on weekends and stuff like that because we lived so close. But it meant that during the evenings, they were off playing games together, and I couldn't join in. And at the time when you'd come from, I guess, a less affluent family, you'd be given about £30 a week just for attending college. And I remember saving as much of that as I could. And I went out and bought myself an Xbox 360. And yeah, I loved it. It's a time where I look um, so fondly upon. We would we would spend countless hours in the evening playing various different games, be it Halo, Gears of War, just yeah, just having a blast really. And I remember so distinctly that there was this one time where I went to go get Modern Warfare 2. It it had just come out, and I remember being so annoyed about having to queue up. And I finally got my game, and as I was coming back home, when I got to the bottom of my road, the whole road had been um, cordoned off by the police, and someone had been stabbed, and it was a case of mistaken identity. And this occurred during a time where stabbings and robberies were on the rise within London, especially, well, not especially, but including in the area I lived in. And yeah, someone had been stabbed, and it was mistaken identity. And luckily, they pulled through without life changing physical injuries anyway. And I remember thinking that, oh crap, that could have been me. And I was just, I was just complaining about something so insignificant when someone was out here on my road, literally meters away from my door, potentially losing their life. And honestly, that period of Xbox Live and Modern Warfare, I spent a lot of time at home when it was dark, when a lot of these terrible things would happen. And without even knowing it, gaming was really pushing me away from a lot of unsightly things. But yeah, that's the third way that video games potentially saved my life. The next one, the fourth time, uh, is actually Connect and story-driven games. So we're still sticking with the Xbox 360, PS3 era here, but again, it's a few years from before, and we're now at we're now at uni, and honestly, uni, the first my first stint, I had two goes at it, and the first time I went, it was difficult. The one good thing at the start was L and J had gone to the same uni as I did, so I was seeing them more often. I was seeing them throughout the day, as well as playing video games with them at night. And I also gained a lot of close friends whilst I was at sixth form. Friends to this day that I still speak to practically every day, or at least once a month. But I went through a really bad depressive state. I had a bunch of things going on within my life that really dragged me down. And the thing that I think tipped me over the edge was I I went through a heartbreak that really was the worst possible type of heartbreak I think anyone could go through without losing someone. Um, and that resulted in me, I guess, shutting myself out, like just closing myself away from people. And I just turned to the one thing I always did in those times, and that was predominantly video games. And it was in an unhealthy way, really. Um, But my friends would always message me, and one friend mentioned that I should try and find a game that encouraged encouraged movement, like get a Wii or something. And it was around the time that Connect had come out, and so I went and I bought a Connect, and it kind of forced me to move because that was the basis of the device, I guess. But I think that really helped because it forced me to engage my body as well as my mind, and it helped distract me from a lot of the terrible thoughts I was having, I guess. And I ultimately ended up leaving uni, and during that 1 to 2 years state of depression I went through, my friends and my family and my loved ones really helped. I had a fantastic support system. And if anything, I have an even better one now. And I'm so grateful for that. But on the other side, it was story driven games on the PS3 that allowed me to see how, I guess, characters progress. And yes, I was able to see that through the books I read and movies and films, but I was helping them progress, right? If if the story didn't move forward, it's because I didn't achieve something, right? So when I did achieve something, it was a, a hit of dopamine, and it really helped me push through a lot of my depression. But yeah, looking back at the time, it was definitely my friends and video games and my loved ones that really pushed me through. But video games were still paramount to that situation. But again, I have the most amazing friends and loved ones, and I met some amazing people whilst I was at uni. And again, I really do appreciate and love you guys. Now, the last part, the last time point of inflection, really, and I guess the most latest part, and that is PS5, X, Xbox, the new Xboxes, and YouTube. And I guess this part is broken into two sections, really. Let's jump to the lockdowns that happened not too long ago, actually. It feels like a long time ago, but it really isn't. And this current cohort of consoles. I It's funny because I made a bunch of mistakes, and during the PS4 Xbox One generation, I really lost myself, lost my passion. I lost my passion for gaming. I lost my passion for writing. I put a lot of pressure on myself to get a lot of things right, to complete uni, to get a job, and I put a lot of stress on myself. And as a result, I lost myself. And with this cohort of consoles, prior to them coming, I made a lot of mistakes. I got into a relationship with someone that, looking back, wasn't it, she just wasn't the right person for me to be involved with. And because of the lockdown and various situations, we ended up moving in together, which was a huge mistake to say the least. But then these consoles came around, and I thought to myself, why why not try to get back into gaming? I wasn't traveling anywhere. I had some money saved up because I wasn't traveling anywhere or going out. And so I thought I'd treat myself. And a few family members banded together and also said, hey, like, treat yourself doubly. Get the other console as well. And so I did. And I started to fall back in love with gaming. And it it actually really saved my sanity gaming because it allowed me to escape the world as it was at the time, which was really difficult. And I would lose myself within the games. And it helped me reinvigorate my passion for writing as well. And honestly, it really saved me. And yeah, it's one of the reasons why I decided to even start doing YouTube because I wanted to share and find my passion within a community that I really do love, and that's the gaming community. And yeah, it really, really did help me. And I guess the second part of that, and that brings us to the here and now and why I'd been gone for so long. Um, over the year and a half, even longer than that, to be honest, I broke up with um, with my ex. I I wish her all the best, but clearly we were two very different people, and it I really struggled in that relationship. It wasn't right for me, and I had to move back in with my mum, which had its own difficulties. But yeah, but yeah, I really struggled, and the only thing I had at the time was gaming, and that's predominantly what I've spent the time focusing on. But it's not all doom and gloom. Um, through gaming and through YouTube, my brotherhood has increased, and I'm really appreciative of that. And you know who you are, and you know how much I appreciate you, and you've really helped me through really real difficult times over the last year, as has a lot of my friends. And I met I met the most amazing girl as well. We've actually just recently moved in together, and she's a gamer too, and she will probably run circles around a lot of you in Call of Duty. I mean, she does it to me, so. And I think I'm fairly okay at Call of Duty, but yeah, she's such an amazing woman, honestly. And it really it really has been gaming. When I look back, it's predominantly always been gaming that has really directed and uplifted me through life. And the positivity of the gaming community has also helped. Honestly, I know I'm a small channel and I don't get millions of views, hopefully one day, but just seeing the comments and stuff, even when I haven't been posting, and just the level of engagement has really helped push me through and drag me back positively to YouTube. And I felt that my first video back should be a very open and honest one, where I explain the difficulties that I've been going through and how much one of my passions, gaming, has helped. And outside of the fanboy stuff and all that rhetoric, the gaming community is awesome, and it's filled with such awesome, awe-inspiring, creative people. I mean, the best video games are made by gamers, right? And we're all gamers. And to whoever needs to hear this, honestly, as long as your passions aren't hurting yourself or somebody else, follow them. Just follow them, honestly. It's you'd never regret following your passion. And it's something I'm still struggling with, but I've never looked back. As I've shown in this video, I've not looked back at a point where I've followed my passion and regretted it. Honestly, gaming's really saved my life. I guess the only other thing is probably putting the YouTube hat on and just please like and share with someone who you think might benefit from watching this. Um, Furthermore, also leave a comment down below if there are moments within your life that you can point to gaming changing it, improving it, and helping you. It'll be an interesting read, and who knows, there might be someone reading those comments that it might also help. But yeah, I'm back now. Um, I'm back. I've got a bunch of videos planned. Uh, I have a PlayStation Portal on the way. My amazing partner has gifted me one for my upcoming birthday, so expect unboxing and first impressions video as well as a review coming up. Uh, in terms of gaming, I am currently playing Spider-Man 2. Again, in fact, I will definitely do a review of that. And that's my main game right now. In terms of my drop-in, drop-out games, currently playing EA FC 24. I will still probably refer to that as FIFA 24, but yeah, playing that on the PS5 and Forza Motorsport as another drop-in, drop-out game on the Xbox. Um, but yeah, I'm back. I want to say thank you to all of you because as gamers, you've also helped me. You've steered me back to a passion of mine, and that is storytelling as well as video gaming. And honestly, I truly believe within the world, we are all gamers at heart, right? We are all gamers at heart. We're all gamers at heart. Happy gaming.